Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. This is Devious RNG. I am here with Aaron2U2, and we are getting ready for some Kaizoku Pod action here on Final Fantasy Randomizer's Twitch channel. Aaron, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm super looking forward to this. This is actually my pod as well. So I had the opportunity to race goatspirate and PlebusMaximus, and both of those races were very close. So I'm super excited to see what both of these runners are going to do. If you notice here, we do have the exact same party for both, because this was a forced party agreed upon by our two runners. So we have a white mage with 15 MDef and 5 luck, a red mage with plus 10 hit percent and 15 vitality fighter with 10 agility and black belt vit. Malice is not really that big of a deal because of, they don't really need those things. So, Aaron, what are you thinking about these parties?
Well, you were talking about the Malices not being that good. I don't know. The black belt vitality, I imagine the fighter will overcome the 20 hit points pretty quick. But otherwise, it just depends on what the spells are. If all the good spells are late, those red mages are going to be probably dead before too long.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I feel like I would rather have white double red than black double red. That especially with the white mage buffs that we have for ST 2022. The white mage, when it casts the harm spells, it's not just undead, it can also damage any enemy in the game. So you have the potential for some very early strong spells coming out of those white mages, and then it's a matter of, are you going to have the black magic to deal with the end game? So we'll see. The thing I'm worried and we have Pleb with his countdown there, letting us know we're about to get started. And white magic has lamp. Easy mode.
There's fog too. I guess that could be useful if you can't find Invis 2 anytime soon.
Yeah, true. But we do have fire too, which, if you're looking for an early black magic, I always think fire is the best of the three elements to start off with, just with how much stuff is going on endgame. Sorry. How many undead there are in the early game, and undead are typically not the biggest fans of fire.
True, and so we really up through Earth Cave, I think fire still is pretty useful, and then it drifts off a little bit, but it should be a good start.
Yeah, well, and it's AoE. I mean, you're always trying to, Garland is your first, big enemy in the game, but it's not until you get over to Vicky that AoE just ends up making that fight really into nothing. And looks like Ghost is getting to Temple of Fiends a little bit first. Pleb decided to go over and check the item shop first, so he's a couple seconds behind. But we'll see if that actually makes a big difference here.
Yeah, it looks like our opening RNG is not very pleasant. Both of the players are resetting a lot here. Mm-hmm. So we might get to see that reset moniker appear quite a lot today.
Yeah. That was 5, 6 encounters coming off of this hard reset. That is a very, very big number.
Yeah, if the airship doesn't come fairly quickly, we're really going to be missing that thief, to think, with this party.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we did find a cake hammer and a Flame 2 helmet up in that top left room of Temple of Fiends, which is going to be either some fantastic early magic or a wonderful little shop item to get some gold for.
Right. I mean, we already have a couple of people with Flame 2, so but I don't know. I give even more people an option, I guess, to use it.
Yeah. I'm very curious how this is gonna, just the way the encounter table is gonna work. As you said, we've seen so many encounters already, and diving into we just got the rod, and there's been some pretty nasty earth caves so far in this tournament. It's definitely a little, what's the word? it's an early game dungeon, but it does not feel like an early game dungeon when you're getting wiped by unrunnable undead packs in the 5th floor of the dungeon.
Right, there's not a whole lot you can do about it without getting some levels, and maybe, you know, we got the grind spots there, might be useful, might not, probably not, it just seems to be the way it goes.
Yeah, Goat's checking the armor shop here in Canaria, finding some chain +1 armor, which is wearable by those red mages. It's one of the few pieces of armor that red mages are allowed to use over the wood armor, which thieves and black belts can wear, but you typically don't see people pick it up. But that chain armor is a very nice early little extra buffer. And we do have some Kaizokus on Ghost Pirate, because like I said, this is the Kaizoku pod. It is the last race for Ghost Pirate, and then PlebusMaximus, or Pleb, is going to be taking a double header tonight. So as soon as this race is done, we're actually going to have another race, quote-unquote, immediately after, between PlebusMaximus and Lord of the Sin. So if you want some late night Final Fantasy, we've got plenty of Final Fantasy coming your way.
All right, and Vicky was holding the keys to the canal, so it looks like we could go. We got the rod, we got the ship, and the canal. Might as well just go straight there, right? Straight to the Earth Cave.
Yeah, I mean, it really is pointing directly to Earth Cave. We do it like we have the marsh play. We have, I mean, you can still use the canal to get over to Crescent Lake to see if there's extra incentives. But in terms of the items, they're pointing directly over towards that Earth Cave. The only issue is, are we able to survive going into the Earth Cave at the moment?
Correct, and I observed that Ghost Pirate went really heavy on buying items and such on the left side of the screen, and you always wonder with Provoca, especially with 3 mage casters, like, well, maybe they're going to need those spells, but yeah. Looks like we had, I think, Brack at level 2. Black was the best, and I think was it Harm 3 for the white mage. Yeah, he just sold that Quake Hammer. He needs the money.
Yeah, well, and if you've got Zap, I mean, and he's buying Cake, you know. Actually, he's buying Zap. To be honest, I mean, I'm sorry, Dang, but Zap is a better one to pick over Cake, especially if you run into those mud galls in the waterfall. Zap's just a better pickup. Sorry, boss.
Oh, nice. I did not know that, so I guess that's a today I learned. Use Zap on mud golems.
Yeah, I'm pretty... People in chat can feel free to correct me, but I'm pretty sure Zap is one of those that works against mud goals and rock goals better than you might expect it to, especially when Cake is your other option. But now we basically are switching places. Pleb went over to Matoya before heading to Provoca, and Goats is currently doing it after. Not really a ton of... Pleb picking up Expert. I really like that play. Definitely not one of those spells that is often picked up, but it's incredibly handy to have, especially when you're diving Topher and kind of need a Hail Mary play. It can end up being a make or break kind of a spell. So I like Pleb picking that up early.
Yeah, and if correct me if I'm wrong here, but Expert is particularly useful if you're trying to hit the enemy with a lot of spells. Mm-hmm. So yeah, especially with 3 casters, that could wind up coming in play later.
Yeah, well, the big thing about Expert doesn't give resistances, or it doesn't weaken an enemy. All it does is take away resistances. So think of Expert as the anti-ribbon. So in the way that the ribbon adds resistances to absolutely everything, Expert will take away any resistances, but it won't make an enemy susceptible to anything. So instead of Chaos being a 3 and 256 for Brack, I want to say it's like 5% instead, which is still pretty low, but 5% is better than 1%. So, and I think someone was running through the percents earlier on the race. It's somewhere in the teens for Extra to hit against Chaos. In fact, one of my 18 and 256 classic gamer, thank you for doing all the math for me. I really appreciate it. I'll hand all of the stats work over to you, and we'll have our tricoms here going. But yeah, I've absolutely seen, like, the best application I've seen for it is you see crab cakes use it a lot. I've seen Spellzap use it for actually fear strat, throwing Expert out to then be able to land mute casts over to Chaos or fear casts, which if you can mute Chaos, like, he's not going to be able to unmute, so now you don't have to worry about nuclears, nukes, tier 4, all of that is off the plate. As long as you have a ruse stick, you can kill Chaos. So it's one of those worst case scenario, I have Expert in my back pocket that's going to raise some of the percent chance of hit for some of these status spells. Again, 18 and 256 after Expert. Again, thank you, Classic Gamer.
Interesting stats. So something I want to point out while Goatspirate was heading to Marsh encountered what I believe, I remember if it was Ogres. Yeah, I think it was Ogres that had Crack and basically annihilated his party, so he had to kind of retrace. But he's made it almost all the way into the final juicy part here in Marsh.
Ooh, that's a lot of money in that chest. That's a nice pickup. I didn't get to see a full look at all of the. I didn't see a good look at all of the magic over in Elfland. What was it that he picked up in Marsh Cave?
Nothing, because he got ambushed by some frost wolves that had lit 3 that completely wiped him out real quick.
Okay, I blinked and all of a sudden he was on the overworld. So thank you. And I think I saw Harmed 3 over in level 3 white magic on Pleb's side. So, and Life 2 and Exit at level 4.
Yeah, I think both of our players are just a little too poor to take advantage of everything, but our Quad X isn't too bad, but it looks like white magic is kind of leading the way right now.
Yeah,
as far
well,
as
and that Life 2 at slot 3, level 4, puts it right in the hands of those red mages, and if you happen to get an early tail, it also puts level 4, never mind, scratch that. But those red mages can definitely learn that Life 2, so that's making this seed a little bit less stressful in terms of endgame.
So, kind of mentioned it before, but Plebus just skipping Marsh Cave, which winds up probably being a very smart move, going directly to Melmon, shopping without any money again. But we see Lit 3 and Fast. That's pretty good. I missed the white shop, though.
I want to say there was Harm 4 at slot 4, so it wasn't... Yeah, it's nice, but there's nothing that I would sit there and say, I need to go back for that, as much as seeing Fast. And I think Fast was at level 4, and Lit 3 was slot 3. So that Lit 3 is Red Wizard locked, but actually I don't know. I'm bad at any level above 4 for the Red Mages, so I'm not quite sure whether or not that Fast is actually going to be viable.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I don't really use red mages, so I haven't bothered to study up and learn it yet.
Yeah, I have to keep a little cheat sheet with me when I run my red mages. It's been so long since I've run a red mage, I have to look it over again. But it looks like Pleb is taking out or checking this Hall of Giants here. Frosties is the encounter, not the best, but at the same time, there really isn't. I mean, you need levels somewhere, and you don't want to wait too long before you decide to go pick them up.
And Plebus has had great luck with turn order here, getting rid of the ogres. I don't think he's seen what they have yet. Goatspirate unfortunately did. And is Ghost... Oh, he's going directly to Crescent Lake. He's skipping this.
Yeah.
I think Plebus is going to follow him in just a minute.
Yeah. I bet both of them are thinking, We have Earth Cave, but Earth Cave can have very nasty things. Goats has already seen Marsh, so I think you said there wasn't anything ridiculous down there. The biggest thing that Goats knows is that those frost wolves have lit 3, so he's probably going to be less likely to dive down into Earth Cave. Wall and Fade, level 6 white, good information. That's definitely a pickup for late game. And we'll see what the sages have.
All right, we got a crown, so we see him go directly back. I guess he kind of has to. He doesn't have a canoe. There's not a whole lot he can do over here.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of... It's good news for Pleb, having skipped that Marsh dive already. He's not really losing time from this. And we do have Nuke as well at level 6.
Yes, a good facial reaction there from Plebus once he saw that. Just probably realizes he's not going to be able to get it.
Yeah. I think, I feel like you gotta take some encounters here around Crescent Lake. These Crescent Lake fights are much later game than you might remember from playthroughs. Especially with this encounter table, 5 quick encounters right outside of Crescent Lake, where you have an inn, you have fuel pots, you've got all sorts of things that you can stock up on. Not gaining up to level 10 is going to make any play from here on out just dangerous. There's a chance that Astos has something, but then again, wherever you end up, you really want to be at that level 10 range in order to feel comfortable diving into something. So it kind of rests on what Astos is packing.
Right, that's pretty much how I think most people played vanilla when they were young, is you get to level 10 and then you're like, alright, let me go ahead and try Marsh Cave now, after you've been grinding on ogres and creeps for 5 hours or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really spoken about shop items yet. Heal pots are pretty cheap in the teens. Houses were around 1900 if I remember correctly, so those are some pretty expensive items that, especially if you're running a high mage party, you're going to want to have a couple houses with you. And with this encounter table, I mean, this is one of those seeds where I pick up like 61 tenths early game just to get me through the first, until I get the airship. And especially with an encounter table like this, you can burn 60 tenths in the inner sea, just trying to get these overworld encounters.
And it looks like both of them are making the play to go after Astos. We'll see what he has here in just a second, and it is the canoe. There's our big access point.
Yeah, that's like that's the love-hate item. You love to see it because it's such a necessary item to beat the game, but at the same time, that just opened up, waterfalls, ordeals, ice cave. It just opened up volcano. Really, you can go just about anywhere, and now it's a matter of, okay, well, what's the safest play? And is that Stone Touch coming out of Astos?
Wonderful. I don't think Plebus saw that. So again, a little bit, some extra unfortunate stuff on Goat's side. But speaking of unfortunate, looks like Plebus is getting ready to dive now. And it's just going to be all, does he get ambushed by the Frost Wolves? Are they heavy ambush, or was that just really bad luck on Goat's pirate side?
Yeah, definitely a good question. I didn't actually notice this before, that Goats had put a red wizard or a red mage as his front man, whereas Pleb has his fighter, and that fighter has an extra 10 agility, and if memory serves, the cider about encounters, whether you're getting ambushed or not, is a mix of luck and agility. So Pleb might actually be less likely to pick up that ambush just because he has that extra agility up front.
Yeah, that is a bit of an interesting thing. He flipped it back. I was thinking, oh, yep, he just kept that red mage stoned, so that was the plan. He was just trying to kill it off.
Gotcha. It's not a bad plan. I mean, especially, well...
Well, it's more experience, and we haven't seen a whole lot out of magic that red mages can use that they're going to be super useful right now.
Yeah. I'm thinking through, though, like, comparison to the white mage. But the white mage does have, harm 2 early, has the harm 3 early. I'm trying to think of whether or not I'd be comfortable just downing the white mage instead of the black mage. Because the red mage. Because the red mage also can learn life 2 at slot 4, or at level 4. We'll see.
Yeah, at this point, I think I would kill at least one, if not both, of the red mages before I'd ever touch the white mage. That one's actually being kind of useful with all those harm spells. Right now, you're just relying on... Oh, and it looks like Plebus met the Lit 2 and did not enjoy it, but it's going back in.
Oh wow, that's a bold move, Cotton. He's especially with a pack of 7. I mean, you're risking a lot for this side. This is going to take another minute and a half or so, especially with this encounter table. And you have so many other options available. You have so many, like, even just heading over to Volcano and opening up that armory chest. You have 2 trap tiles there. And again, we just saw Pleb go up to level 8. I think Goats is somewhere around there. But we do see Goats actually taking a little mini grind here on these Frosties, considering how much Fire 2 equipment he's found at this early game.
Yeah, not a bad play. It's not a ton of experience, but 1,500 when you're at level 8, 9, 10 is still pretty good, especially with an enemy that you can kind of just burn up pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, and he also has that Flame 2 helmet, so he's not actually burning spells with that, except they have Fleet, which is scary, but not the worst possible, and it looks like they only have about 100 hit points, 120 hit points, something like that. So it's a pretty strong move by Ghost. I feel like the Crescent Lake play would have been a little bit safer, but this is absolutely getting him the experience and some extra gold that he needs to get through this early game.
Yeah, you can just do this until you feel ready enough to take the rest of Earth Cave on, and although, again, the spells are not the best, I think he's wielding like a Saber +2 right now, which as far as, cheap early weapons isn't bad, but I don't know if that's something that's going to do a whole lot against Lich.
Pleb is back on these Frost Wolves, and DVS getting his Fire 2 out, missing that very first Frost Wolf. We don't know if that Frost Wolf already burned its turn, but there you go, Dark Moon throwing his Fire 2 out. Up to level 9, and we get the Chime, so this is absolutely a required dive here. So at some point, Goats is going to have to get out there, and did he just lose his entire grind walking out?
Yes, he did.
I think
that
he
was
did.
Groger. Was that Thunder that they had, I think? That just kind of completely annihilated the party. The White Mage, unfortunately, doesn't know how to run.
Yeah, Goats is getting the worst of the RNG here. Though he's making the right play. He's making the right play of, I need to find some levels. I need to get my party up. This is a good place to do it. The Phantom is not the encounter for that, as you noticed. But did he freeze, or is he thinking?
He's level 5. I don't think he can seriously go in here, and you would have to hope just to get past that encounter. But maybe he is. He's going to try to run to the 3rd floor where there's another trap tile. But I don't know. It just seems a little weak, a little soft.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think the Frosty play. Oh, you know what? He burned a good 4 or 5 encounters to try to make sure he gets the run out. So he's gonna go back in. He'll burn all of his Fire 2 charges and then hopefully get his way out. He does have exit at level 4 for that White Mage. Pleb looks like he's still running 2 because they got wiped out by the Frost Wolves. But it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. Aaron, where would you head off to if you were Pleb?
I don't know, what does he have like gear wise? It could be interesting if he's in like the low teens. Maybe take a if you're worried about levels with the party, maybe take a run at the first floor of Mirage Tower or something like that. Otherwise, I really like Waterfall if I have exit or warp, just because it's one way, and most of the enemies there are usually good experience at this level. Plus, they're fairly easy to handle most of the time.
Yeah, I think the key thing is if you have exit or warp, that white mage has exit available at level 4. You're again, you only need really level 10 to get through most of this early game. So if you can prioritize getting at least an exit cast, that opens up, as you said, Waterfall. It opens up a little bit easier to dive into ice if you want to be cheeky, but I don't think anyone's going to do that considering those frost wolves. I'd be eyeing up Volcano for not just the fact that there's a bunch of chests down there, but you also have those 2 trap tiles, and the river system can get you a level or 2. So, there's a lot of options out there, and we'll have to just see what Pleb decides is the right move for his party.
Well, in the meanwhile, Goats does survive Earth Cave, I believe, and exits out. I didn't see how many levels he got. I think it was about 4 or 5, and I think it's just going for the full clear, the full revive, and then going back. I don't think he had any houses to use.
Yeah, again, those houses are about 2,000 gold each. One of the nice things about Goats' grind choice is the dragons typically give lots of gold, so he was able to buy some extra. You're right. Brogers had thunder there.
Yeah, second he sees it, just resets. Like, no.
Well, the worst part is, and I don't mean to commentate or curse, but Brogers can appear on. Is it actually? You know what? I think it's giants or more on Earth 4. Brogers can appear on Earth 3. So this is definitely a dangerous dungeon, which is, I get why they would want to go here first, but considering all of the skills and spells that we've already seen, this is a very dangerous play.
Yeah, I think at the same time, Plebus is just following in. He has not seen the fun from any of these guys yet. He hasn't seen the crack from the ogres, although I don't think it might not be the first slot. And he avoids seeing the thunder from the Grover. So that's wonderful.
Well, it's wonderful until you finally see it, and then it feels bad. So we'll see how long Pleb can get his luck rolling in his direction. And meanwhile, Ghost has his Spectre Geist path has a mute, which again is just making this Earth dungeon so much fun to dive.
Yeah, he's getting there though. He hasn't wiped yet, and I think some of us might have been expecting it just because of how bad some of these enemies have been. But no, he's healthy. He's gonna go up to Vampire, and hopefully Vampire doesn't do anything too crazy.
Yeah. Well, Pleb deciding to pick up that top right room in Earth 2 and getting rewarded with an Ice -2 armor, which is a very strong armor for that leading fighter there. So it's a very nice pickup that he has that I don't think Goats picked up. But Goats is past his pirate, and he's going to be checking these treasure chests up here for his, well, there it is. Earth Cave incentive item is the ruby.
Well, now he can, I guess, visit Sarda after this. That's another free check. So, at least until you have until you have airship abilities, the ruby is completely worthless.
It still could hold the loose. So there are 2 loose items here, and even though the Titan's Trove is not incentivized, they can still hold one or both of those loose items. So there is a small chance the ruby's required, even if you do have floater, but the probability of that is pretty low. Yeah,
really enjoying Plebus's reactions here. That hard 3 on the vampire hit for like almost 300. He got real excited, and then he got real bored once he got ambushed by all these enemies doing 1 damage at a time to him.
Yeah, I agree with Deng that runner cam is the best. And I don't know if you saw Deng's race against Lord Sizzlebeef half an hour to an hour ago. But Deng was vibing at the end of his run there and jamming down his Topher run. So I'm also a big fan of that runner cam. No, I remembered something after Deng distracted me. Goats decided to check that free box along the bottom of this room that Pleb's going into. He didn't check any other boxes, which is interesting considering the fighter part of...
Yeah, Sun Sword, that's a potential endgame weapon that Goats just bypassed entirely. So, I don't know, maybe we'll find something better, or maybe we won't.
Yeah, in a tent. Okay, so it's just the Sun -1, but that Sun -1, it also, I believe, has extra damage against the undead, which is very appropriate for Lich's dungeon. So, Pleb's definitely making out with a very excellent weapon. We'll see if it actually ends up being in Goats' detriment, or if Goats finds a pretty nice weapon early on coming out of Earth Cave here.
Or, perhaps Goats just just thinks he actually has a Tyra there instead of a fighter, and oh hey, it's the ogre with crack and load.
Yeah. Still getting the bad luck there.
That's 2 times we've seen crack on goatspirate's screen, and I think we've seen thunder 2 times as well, and Plebus has avoided both of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that Plebus has actually actively fought like 4 groups of ogres.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the power of the webcam, the power of the positivity, as shown forth by the runner's exuberance. And the game just doesn't want to disappoint. The game can't let them down. So it's going to say, you know what, we'll let you cascade here on this Lich. And you know what, we'll even let them fall on attack for you.
First try, nice.
And Goats is pretty much at starter after... Oh, actually, you know what? He's checking these items first. Then he's going to go down to starter after this just god-awful encounter table.
It's like, you're actually happy to see the Groger use slow instead of thunder.
Yeah, exactly. Man, what... There is... Oh, there's the crack.
Alright, so he got his introduction too. And then, hey, the Oxyhail as the loose item in here. Let's hope that Plebus checks that, because this is something that people might not do.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of loose items having a low probability of showing up in Titans, there it is. And that Oxyhail is definitely required endgame. So, Ruby hard required for this seed, which is... Again, typically we refer to the ruby as kind of a wasted item in this flag set, but not for this seed.
Yeah, if this wasn't for Forced and Plebus had like a black belt sort of setup, he might skip them. But I mean, he checked a few extra things in Earth Cave that Goats didn't, so you imagine he'll probably sneak down there.
Yeah, I don't think he would. Especially in a pods run, I don't see this as unless you don't remember that a loose could wind up in Titans. I think you definitely make that check. But especially with some of the newer flags and having to remember where loose can and cannot be, like Waterfall. Like checking the Waterfall boxes. Even though the robots incentivize, the chests aren't. So that's one of those things that can happen, but with the number of seeds we've been playing and watching here, as you said, and Lord of the Sense also saying in chat, it's hard to imagine that he's not going to follow through with that Ruby check.
So, in lieu of getting that ice -1, I think it was, he buys the iron armor, turns in the slab here. Goat's had a really tough time getting back through Titan's Tunnel, probably reset, I would say, over 10 times, and it looks like Plebus might be having the same problem right now.
Yeah, again, just this encounter table. I think, alright, so now it's the question again. Where are you going? You got Ice Cave, you've got Waterfall, Sea Shrine, Ordeal, and Volcano. What's your pick?
Well, at this point, I would think of... I wouldn't want to go to Volcano just because I'd be thinking airship, you know? Even though it's not really necessary, it would still be in the back of my head. You do have an extra check because of Slab turned in. That might be something that's worthwhile, but... I don't know. I don't think Volcano would be the play. I don't think Sea Shrine would be the play. I think we'll see the required, or excuse me, the shorter, more minor dungeons hit first.
Yeah, I don't really disagree. I feel like Ordeals or Waterfall is going to be the play that our runners make. Ordeals is a love-hate relationship because it's faster if you have boat, but at the same time, it's slower if you don't have warp and get a rough warp tower or warp pillar room. And it looks like Goats is making the Ordeals play. And we'll see if Pleb makes the exact same choice or if he heads over to Waterfall.
And for those who don't know, there is a little trick with warp that you can basically undo mistakes on this floor, which makes it very useful right here. There's some other places you can use warp, like the Ice Cave, but it's still, the enemies here aren't terrible if you're thinking about picking up a few fights along the way, but we can just see Goats chose incorrectly and got launched all the way back to the beginning of the whole area.
Yeah, well, lucky for Goats, Pleb's going to make the same thing. You kind of always go, you know, pillar 1, 2, 3, 4 on pillar room, but Pleb is now pretty much one room behind Goats here. So there is not... Oh, Andy went down.
Yes, mummies also have thunder. How about that?
Oh, that's not good. I think
we see mummies all over the place. That's going to be a persistent threat throughout the entire northern continent, I think.
Yeah, because they show up in Sky, Waterfall, Ordeals. They are very, very popular. And I think officially Pleb has just taken the lead, because I think he's going to head over to this last pillar room after this, and is currently about 2 rooms ahead of Goats. So we have, again, I said at the beginning, this is probably going to be a pretty close race, and we have some hand-holding happening on screen, and other than a little bit of an encounter change, we have both of our runners at the exact same spot with the exact same materials, and pretty much the exact same levels. The only difference being Pleb has a Sun -1 sword, and Goats has a Stoned Red Mage.
Yeah, we've... Oh, look, and Plebus just hit the mummies too. Wow. But he gets out of there, so he's probably going to continue on. Oh, he has life too as well, so...
He wills the game to allow him to live. And Goats did just pick up a Flame -1 armor as well as that TNT. So Goats now has something to take the place of that Ice -2 that Pleb found in Earth Cave. So again, really the only difference is a Sun Sword and a Stone Red Mage makes the difference between our 2 runners. And Goats is back up in front, heading over to the Waterfall, gonna check that incentive item, and then we'll just see if he decides to try the early C play, or if he tries to go turn in the TNT and whatever else he finds over here in the Waterfall.
Yeah, the problem with the TNT is, of all the different things that you could turn in right now, I seem to think that one just there's no short way to it. You'd have to go all the way back around. It's not really long, but it's enough to kind of like mentally dissuade you from doing it.
Yeah, I think part of it's just the encounter table. If there was I've seen some pretty long runs off of the boat reset because Goat's checking to see if the vendor item is over there in the caravan. The encounters for the sea are actually a lower percentage than the encounters on the land. So there is a chance that you'll get fewer sea encounters than land encounters, and it looks like Pleb has found out that that's actually going to be the case here.
Yeah, he's working pretty fun there, trying to get past the arachnids that blocked him. Meanwhile, Ghost Pirate did pick up a bottle in the item shop there in Honorak. I almost called it Oxyhale Town.
They're the same thing, pretty much.
So that's not going to help him a whole lot right now. And Pleb is picking up a roost staff, which very important thing to pick up and to not drop, I've heard.
Oh, ouch. Yeah. I totally lost my train of thought there. Actually, you know what? There's my thought train. Choo choo. Okay. I'm surprised that Plebus didn't reset out there, because the roost stick, as wonderful as it is, it's a lot of time here, especially with this encounter table, to be burning this much time on saving a roost stick. But he's probably thinking about Kraken. We'll see. This is a we'll see. I'm not sure if it's going to be the right play or the wrong play. And we'll see if it pays out.
Alright, meanwhile, Goats gets to the robot and finds an herb. That's another trade-in. So as far as, reducing your walking around, and hey, the other loose item right next to it, crystal. So we got 3 trade-ins for Goat's Pirate to do in the Southern Continent. I would be very surprised if we don't see him go immediately there after this.
Yeah. As a lot of people don't know, especially when you're starting off the game, that Matoya's Cave is deceptively close to the Cardia Isles there. So it's a pretty quick boat ride over to check that. And really, I think Ghost is going to have to decide if he wants to risk the early sea play, or if he's going to go over and check in that Cardia Crystal. And it looks like he's doing the Cardia Crystal.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be difficult for me, I think, to skip out on 3 item checks in probably about a minute and a half. But, yeah, it seems like what he's doing. He just had a little bit of a rough encounter there with some tigers. I think had lit 2 that was just ripping into the party, and he just noped out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as you said, there's 3 checks down there with the that herb pickup from the robot as well. I don't know. We get Brack level 2. I think Ghost is going to try one shot at it. I feel like this is what I would do. You've got that Ice 2 stick, which is going to help against some of the enemies down here. You've got Harm 3, and you've got Unrunnable Gersharks. And Ghost is saying, nope. Oh, wow, no, he's just resetting out of that.
Yeah, probably wanted to fix the encounter table, because that came really fast. First thing he fought after that was some more Frost Wolves, and immediately noped in. And it's a different one, Gersharks that aren't unrunnable, so interesting that there's just one formation will work and the other one won't. And we have unrunnable Nagas as well, so tons of unrunnable stuff so far. Hopefully that's a good sign for later, that maybe Topher won't have too many of them. I don't know if there's a limit. Is there a limit?
For unrunnable?
Yeah, is there there's this amount, so more or less, or could you have everything be unrunnable by a random chance?
I actually don't know the answer to that question. So someone in chat fill us in. And Classic's been helping me out with a lot of the things that commentators should know, but don't. Not sure if you know that one, but if chat says it, we'll call it out. And
I like to think that it's chat's role to correct the commentators when they don't know what they're talking about.
That it is. Dangwu coming through for us saying that it is a specified number of unrunnable encounters that are just shuffled, but he doesn't know exactly what the number is. So I think it has something to do with the number of trap tiles there are, or trap tile encounters there are, but I don't know what that number is either. So we're being incredibly helpful. Looks like Pleb is not even debating. He's going directly into this sea shrine. He's got level 2 bracket, and he's gonna go take down a Kraken.
All right, or he's gonna try to. We'll see. Goatspirate didn't manage to get through there. I think got squinted at and decided nah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, if you're going through Sea Shrine and you hit an unrunnable encounter, Gersharks or single Nagas is not the worst encounter in the world to have unrunnable. As you said, they could have, like, something like Squint that would be, like this encounter. 7 lobsters that want to hurt you, and very bad. Do lots of damage. And we'll see if he can get out speed before the low damage. Not looking good for Chris dies here for Pleb.
Yeah, interesting. Goatspirate fought the bridge boss and then noped out of going after the TNT. I guess he must have thought something else he needed to do right away.
Oh, looks like heal pots. Pleb deciding to. Yeah, I think he's deciding to nope out of that sea shrine as well. Both of our runners going north here. To head to the inner sea as opposed to going south to check on Matoya. Pleb already knows that the TNT is the root stick. Goats doesn't, so probably unaware of that shortened pathway to get over to Matoya from the northern continent. But he'll do the herb turn-in, he'll get his loot, and we'll see where he goes after that.
So, Lord of the Synth pointing out there are 26 uncheckables, and hey, Goats gets the floater, so we're going to see some air here in just a moment.
Yeah, and we are, just taking a look now, we're 45 minutes into this seed with 1 orb lit and just getting that floater. So, it feels late. It definitely feels like this is a bit of a slower speed. We still have yet to see our key. We still have yet to see our cube. And our sign came from Marsh Cave, which is why Pleb has the chime and Goats does not. So really it's a matter of where is the cube, and then hopefully that cube is going to turn into a key. We still don't have our saber bonds, we still don't have our tail, but the cube and the key are the 2 required items that we need.
Right, and Plebus is taking what was that, the shipport near Provoca to go over to Matoya, so he will maybe shorten that trip up a little bit, get the herb on the way back. We know that the herb has the loot, so that is required, but can't imagine somebody isn't going to turn in something at some point. Yeah. Also, Goatspirate now has both the bottle and the slab turn-ins to do. I think he talked to Dr. Maybe? I'm not sure, but...
Goats did. Yeah, I don't know if Plebus did, but I know Goats did. Ooh, and very cheap silver +3 over here in Gaia.
Nice, and pro rings, which can be pretty useful. Keep you from getting instant killed by some stuff.
Yeah, actually, this Pleb's going to provoke us to buy some things. One of the things that's very new about SC 2022 is our speedboat flag, because the speedboat, or the boat in Final Fantasy, is typically the same speed as walking speed, but a recent flag has been created to make the speedboat roughly the same speed as the airship. So that speedboat is actually a significantly higher pace than it is to walk. So Pleb actually losing a little bit of time there by deciding to do the walk as opposed to taking the boat. But either way, he's got his airship. He will be heading over to the Rayutan Desert to get his airship, while Goat, after finding that tail from the bottle, is going to go check what this Lefane turn-in is going to be.
Yes, if he can ever get there, we're going to see a whole lot of resetting here for a little bit, unless there's some sort of good time to save. It looks like he's got the good walk there, and another unrunnable group. Wonderful.
You know, I just realized that as much as it looks like Goat is pretty steadily in the lead here, just realizing that he hasn't picked up that chime from Marsh Cave means that our runners are essentially neck and neck. And the amount of time that Goat is ahead is roughly the amount of time that it would take to go get that chime out of Marsh Cave. So again, it's anybody's match. This is going to be a run down to the Topher dive, and it could be separated by who ends up getting the right gear checks, who ends up getting the luck in Topher, who ends up deciding to take the extra levels. This is going to be an end game, a Topher decided race, in my opinion.
Well, it certainly seems to be trending that way. I think level-wise, Goat's just a little ahead of Plebus, but they're still at the point where if they sit down and grind, they're going to just churn up a bunch. 14, 15 isn't a whole lot. The big thing here, though, is Goat's going to be so turned off of going back to Swamp that he does that last. Because, like we see Plebus right now in Ice Cave, if the key happened to be in the Sky Palace and he didn't do anything else other than the required checks, he would get a little bit of an advantage of skipping some stuff.
Yeah, well, and Ghost gets the bad news that it's kind of his bad news that the Lefane turn-in is actually the Saber Bonk, which is really good for Goats because Goats doesn't have that Sun -1 sword. Unfortunately, it's better news for Plebus because Plebus hasn't turned in his slab yet, and the Power Bonk is not a required item. Therefore, Pleb might not actually have to make that dungeon dive. So we'll see. Again, we'll see if that ends up turning out to be kind of a decider here. But it does look like whatever Pleb pulls out of Ice Cave here is going to be something that leads to the cube. It has to lead to the cube.
Right, yeah, now that I see that, there's no chance really that it can't be because, well, I guess the cube could be an ordeal. No, we did ordeals. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, we got both loose. We've done ordeals. This is either the cube or the adamant with what we know right now. And then if it's the adamant, then we've got key in Sky Palace. If it's the cube, we have adamant to key in Sky Palace. So we're in no mode here, even though our runners are not quite there yet.
So is this a scenario where either runner feels particularly behind, or do they just assume that the other guy has had similar issues? Because we know there's just a lot of really unlucky and unfortunate stuff that some of these enemies have.
I think Goats is feeling really behind because he's gotten the brunt of a lot more of the bad encounters. I think Pleb. I mean, if you're looking at the timer, if I'm looking at the clock, I'm feeling behind because typically you're looking at our teams somewhere in that 70-something minute range is typically where these feeds like to end. This has been a little bit ugly, but you're arguing with yourself whether or not, like, is the guy that you're racing having as much of a hard time as you are. So I think for Goat, he's feeling very behind. You can see it a little bit in his movement. I think Pleb is feeling good about this. I think he's feeling strong about it. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm ruminating, or whatever it's called.
No, I appreciate it. So, and picking up the cube from the blacksmith as we expected. And now it's, how do I want to go about beating the game? Because he's missing the key and the tail. The tail check was, where was that again?
I believe it was the bottle.
Oh, right, yeah. I forgot to look at the list. So, yeah, he has that. He can get, basically it's a full clear seed at this point, because everything that's left is required. The only thing you could really skip would be, I think, life in at this point, but there's not really a reason to do it. Like, I think if I were him, I'd be like 50-50 for the key. You gotta kind of go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think, so, Chat2980, great FFR runner who came up through the program, the ducking program with me, and great guy. He's taught me a lot about thinking through some of these kinds of decisions, and one of the things he keeps bringing up to me has been, what is your I totally lost my train of thought. What's your end game? Like, what is your I need this in order to be able to beat the game? And if I'm pleb, I feel like with what we have right now, Saber Bonk and Tail are required. Like, we don't have anything that says, like, we don't have a high-level NASA. We don't have Gold +5. We don't have, like, anything that's truly insane. We don't have Nuke level 1. We are at a point where we're gonna have to rely on our melee fighting. We're gonna have to rely on some sort of opal armor or something to keep us alive. I don't think that you can do this without every single item. So Fled might just be thinking, you know what, I know I'm gonna have to get everything anyway. I'm just gonna go check every single incentive location and then go boss.
Yeah, and I while we're kind of watching some things unfold a little bit slowly at this point, I want to point out goatspirate's promoted characters are interesting. I particularly like the knight.
Yeah, I love a lot of the new sprites that are coming out. Just because it's on topic, and we're seeing a couple repeats here with Goats diving into ice here, and Pleb doing his extra turn-ins, that you should try out the Final Fantasy Randomizer community. Just even in talking about sprites, there is a creative channel there who has gotten a lot of activity in the recent months, and there is an entire collection of sprites that people from the community have put together and compiled on a website. Our devs have created a option to input a sprite sheet into the randomizer browser itself, so that it's very easy to upload sprites that are in a particular format. I don't know the background, but if you go to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com and like any of the sprites that you see, you can probably go to the creative channel and find them in the pins. There's a website with a sprite compendium, and I highly recommend checking it out. If you enjoy Final Fantasy Randomizer and you say, hey, this looks like fun, I would love to at least get my feet wet in this, there's actually an awesome opportunity coming up in the next couple of months. I referred to it earlier. It's called the Duckling Program, term of endearment for really, again, getting people's feet wet in the game. We teach you absolutely everything there is to know about the game from the ground up, telling you all of the best strategies from all of the best runners by all of the best runners. And it's a fantastic time. We even put together an entire tournament at the end of the boot camp for just new players. You are not allowed to race in this tournament if you are a veteran that has shown to be a veteran of this game. So if you're interested, if you're intimidated about getting into spring tournament, highly recommend keeping a lookout on FinalFantasyRandomizer.com and our Discord for when the next Duckling Boot Camp starts up. And we will get back to our runners because this is a new place. Both of our runners have promoted. Both of our runners are here in Volcano. Both of our runners, I was going to say both of our runners are checking Armory, but we don't know that yet. Both of our runners will be checking Armory and getting some extra equipment.
And they both seem to be triggering some extra fights. I think they're still just looking for something good to fight because I think they both feel a bit underleveled at this point, and we haven't really found the good grind anywhere yet.
Yeah, we did see Goats do a little bit of encounter checking in the desert and not finding anything but orange kilos and a little bit of station wings. But finding this Ice +1 and this really this Aegis +2 shield is giving pretty much a full hefty set of armor. Really the only thing equipment-wise that separates these two runners is that +1 sword that Pleb found in Earth 4 that Goat skipped. But the one missing item right now is a ribbon. And that's kind of important. So it'll be interesting to see what our runners do here on the way down to Carry to see if they decide to check a couple of these chests and potentially pick up, or hope to pick up, a ribbon as they dive down deeper.
Yeah, really, it's just been a lot of trouble this entire seed. You know, you start out with a forced party that isn't terrible, but you're missing your extra run attempts, and then the RNG table just winds up being absolutely horrid. And the spells for the black magic at least have been below par. Right. And yeah, everything's just been a lot of frustrating. So many unrunnables. And hey, there's your ribbon that you were looking for on Plebus' screen.
Yeah, if you're putting it on the red mage, I guess our red mages do know life 2, so, or our red wizards know life 2. So Pleb just kicked it into gear, and he is in, it looks like, that's a good pickup. That's a good pickup. Ice +4 sword, throwing it on the fighter, though I don't think those red wizards can equip the sun sword, so kind of trading off the possibility of 2 melee for only 1 melee, but it's still early. He has options. That ribbon really puts him in a good place, and he's definitely kicked it into high gear. It's diving down. Red Wizard can equip Sun Swords. Thank you, Guardian Marcus. Remember, I know thieves can't. That's always the thing. Thieves can't equip anything.
Alright, looks like Plebus is going with some Brack strats on Carry too. Or Carry 1, excuse me, and that Carry as well.
Yeah, throwing out the Harm 4, swinging that Ice +4. Goat's getting his own sword here with the X-Cal +1. Yes, the X-Cal is better. The X-Cal is better. The X-Cal is a better sword than the Harm +4 axe. And that is going to be a very nice thing for him. Those Bracks are really not going to do anything. Better swinging that Sun Sword or casting out something else. But Goats is in pretty good shape now, especially after he picks up this Ice +4 sword.
Yeah, he now what we're seeing on Plebus' screen, I think the issue has been he got that first use of Quake on Lich, and I think he got pretty excited about it. And now he's backed off of. Oh no, he's still using Brack, but he's backed off of it a little bit, it seems. And just hoping the best. The white mage already downed, and meanwhile this long fight has let Goats catch completely up, and now he's on Carry as well.
Carry is broken into pieces after being X-furred. That is not something you see every day, and Pleb making that's not something I've seen before, but making it out and probably heading over to take out his next scene while Ghost is on his Carry fight, pulling out some cure strats from the red wizard and the white wizard. Fire 2, Harm 4, and a Swing. Lit 2 coming out from carry is not going to do much. That X-Cal doing some more 3 hits, 250. Harm 4 with 85. Another Swing, Harm 3, doesn't have any fast cast. Looking for the lock, doesn't have any of that. Yes, bringing in Ice plus 4 is actually going to do quite a bit of damage. And that red, and just checking our stats again, that red mage has plus 10 hit percent. So red mages don't really have the greatest hit percent to begin with, but you add 10 into it, that's a good chunk of levels. Could get you an extra swing, could get you some extra damage. And we'll see if they swing over to melee again, as both of our runners have really pushed this into high gear.
Yeah, Plebus is not having a good go at the first floor of Mirage. I didn't see exactly what did it, but got wiped by the white mage got wiped and he reset out, and just has been bad encounters. And hey, there is another unrunnable encounter, Nightmare and Badman, not something you'd normally want to fight anyway.
Yeah, which is so. You said that the white does he have life 2 on those red wizards?
Yes, he does. So he has life 2 all over the place. It's, pretty healthy, I suppose.
Cool. Didn't just making sure. Now the question is, what is he looking for? If you are Plebus, what are you looking for in these boxes here?
Well, he didn't find the X-Cal, so he's still thinking he can improve his weapon a little bit. But at this point, what else is there? The defense sword, possibly. I don't think we've seen that. X-Cal and the Mass Moon. Like, you're looking for 3 specific items, I think, to improve, and that doesn't seem like good odds.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the Vorpal out there. I mean, I know there's Team Anti-Vorpal has become quite popular around these days, but I'm still a big proponent of the Vorpal as a weapon that can actually kill things. We have not seen the Vorpal yet, as far as I know, but that would definitely be one that I would be keeping my eyes out for. Lord of the Synth on Team Vorpal sometimes, which I could attest to that. But I mean, especially with the fact that we have the Roost Stick, we have the Saber Gauntlet, Vorpal is a very, very good endgame weapon, especially if you're already expecting to have to cast those sabers. So the advantage that you get of the Vorpal over the X-Cal, as great as the X-Cal is with being able to take advantage of any enemy weaknesses, if you have an enemy that doesn't have weaknesses, like Chaos, the X-Cal doesn't really do any extra damage, and the crit rate is not good. So the benefit of the Vorpal is that its crit rate is incredibly high, so it's going to let you bypass a lot of that extra defense. Even though it doesn't have the extra damage, you can put the extra damage on it through those saber casts.
Alright, so to update where our players are, goatspirate's back into Ice Cave, did not get the cube before. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I think they got launched out. Wouldn't be surprised if it was those thunder-spewing mummies that he's already seen. Plebus, on the other hand, found an Agama and is continuing to find more and more Agamas. They just keep showing up.
Yeah, this is an interesting decision. I feel like this is one of those, and people in chat, I'm kind of curious what you think as well. Agamas are a fantastic black belt grind. As you see, he's only getting 1,200 experience here for each Agama. Part of the reason that Agamas are a good black belt grind is that 1,200 experience for a party turns into about 5,000 experience for a single party member. But that's not a lot of experience to pass around to 4 different light warriors. You'd be much better off finding like a water pack or a Gatsby or Steak and Wings, just because they're going to have that higher experience pool. So this is a strong, high experience encounter it's not necessarily the best type of encounter for the specific party type.
Yeah, and compared to everything else that is in here, it might be the lowest experienced group that he's going to fight in the entire Sky Palace. But it's also a dumb enemy, like it wasn't doing anything. And we've seen there's a lot of really bad enemies that he's come across. Although now that he's in the actual Sky Palace, for the most part, we haven't seen any of these enemies yet. So theoretically, none of them will be unrunnable because we've already seen all of them somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I think you made a very strong point there that the Agama is probably going to be the weakest of all of the enemies or the lowest experience. Like that eye right there with an extra 700 experience points. These Manticores would be a very nice fight if you're looking for some quick experience. It's hard to kind of play that balance. I feel like the meta has switched a lot towards the black belt in recent years. And for very good reason. Black belts are fantastic. The problem is that running a black belt party is very, very different than running a fighter party, which is very, very different than running, fighter double red white. So all of these tiny little nuances in your party scheme, it means that you have to make a lot of adjustments on the fly. And we'll see if both of our runners are able to make those adjustments in time for this particular run. Finding that in this shirt, which is the white shirt, so that white mage now has a hefty bit of defense that it didn't have before.
Right, and what we've seen from Plebus, he checked a few extra chests. Like you said, the white shirt, even though with this bit of a penalty, it's still better than a copper ring. Mm-hmm. And this last floor, what's the term again? Stairway to Heaven, something like that?
Stairway to Heaven. The Bridge of Destiny, my man! The Bridge of Destiny is upon us, and we have robots that can show up, so if you want to see a war mech, throw your favorite robot icon in the chat. We want to see us a robot chicken that is going to give Plebus a bit of a hard time here. Try to give goatspirate a chance to catch up and see if we can give him a little bit of a challenge here at the end of this Sky Palace. If that war mech is unrunnable, he is by far the most dangerous enemy that you're going to find in this game. Outside of the final dungeon of the game. And it looks like he's able to make it to the other side, but he still has to take out Tiamat, who is not always the friendliest little dragon. So Saberbug, starting us off, does have a fast cast off of one of those red mages. We have a Brass and an Expert. So the ruse comes out, 3 hits for 140. It's not horrible. Did not see if that landed. Fast comes out and lands ineffective with the Brass. Another Saber Bonk, more Brass, and another Expert. So I'm sure that other Expert did not land. Brass ineffective once again. 4 hits, 221 to DVS. Brass does not land. Expert ineffective. And still thinking Brack strats. Those Expers are not really going to do anything in terms of landing that Brass, but that Blaze is not good for Pleb's party. Getting into the low upper 200s, but that's not going to matter because we have broken into pieces. Level 20, PlebusMaximus, lighting the air orb. That is 3 down, 1 to go. He's heading off to Kraken, and then he's got to be thinking about Temple of Fiends.
All right, yeah, that was a good fight. Meanwhile, goatspirate is still working on the Agamas here. It looks like he's kind of in the same situation that Plebus is, where he's a little low to take on Tiamat. So a few levels does make some sense here. Mm-hmm. He's basically just shy of or basically exactly where Plebus was when he bolted. Mm-hmm. So, meanwhile, Plebus is digging Cardia again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be thinking about either, I was going to say, a ribbon or a weapon. So there's your second ribbon of the night. trying to do a little bit of gear cleanup. And we'll see if he stops after this or if he keeps diving for trying to hope for that Melta to come out.
Well, absolutely a good find. Those ribbons are very useful. I don't think the white mage has some extra magic defense, which is nice, but I don't know that you want to count on that to make it through. But that it's definitely a little boost for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have Pleb. You saw him do the Let's Go fist. I wouldn't be surprised if he's done with those boxes, because if he's not going to check Bradycardia, he's probably done with boxes. He's going to drive through and try to get to Kraken as quick as possible. So really what that means is turning our attention over to Goats and seeing what he does as he nears the Bridge of a Destiny. Though I do have to say, the other thing that we haven't really talked about yet is the fact that Goats is running a strictly 3-man party where Pleb has decided to run all 4. So even though our levels are fairly comparable at the moment, the number of party members is not. So I'm wondering if Goats' extra levels from only having 3 party members is going to give him a big leg up, or is having the extra party member with fewer levels going to give Pleb the little bit of advantage that he needs?
Well, I would like to think that would have helped, but I think Plebus is still over-leveled over Goats right now. Like, even with the less people, he hasn't really been able to manufacture the extra experience, and the difference between 3 people and 4 people isn't that much. Like, it's an extra 33%, which is cool, but it really, accelerates at 2 people. That's why I think you occasionally see people go with the 2-people parties, because then it just really just kind of escalates.
Yeah, that brute, that knight putting out 3 hits for 700 damage. I mean, this is where Tiamat only has 1500 maximum. He probably has like 200 hit points left with that brass landing. So, Goatspirate lighting that 3rd orb at level 21. Plebus getting to those unrunnable lobsters now with plenty of magic and armor to say, yes, lobster sounds great. In fact, I will take 7. Thank you very much. Please leave the butter and salt water as you leave the table.
I've never had lobster myself. I try to avoid them in the game and in real life.
Yeah, I'm from the New England area, so lobster is always a ready thing that people talk about. Oddly enough, when I was living up there, I didn't eat a ton of lobster, so that's it's seafood. I guess as a little kid, the idea is not the best, but you grow up and want some lobster.
So what Plebus saw there, more than likely Goats is going to pick up, which was a Vorpal -1. How does that figure into the calcs, do you think?
I think if you are a typical runner, that Vorpal means nothing to you. In fact, I know a lot of guys in this community that would more than happily go out of their way to drop it out of their inventory to show how much they hate that weapon. So I'm not thinking it's going to do much. I would say that other Ice +4 that Goats just picked up is going to be a bigger boon for him. Though personally, I think that Vorpal -1 pickup, you didn't need to open the box in the first place. The fact that you opened that box and got a Vorpal meant that you are absolutely done opening boxes. You need to stop opening boxes. You need to go fast. Stop thinking about boxes. You're ready to go. All you need is levels. And if you want to go safe, go pick up, a cure spell on that knight and just go into Topher.
So you're saying that seeing a Vorpal is basically like getting a sign from the heavens that you need to just stop?
Yeah, pretty much. If they're like, look, dude, The only thing that's left is this Vorpal -1. This is it. You've gotten the best thing out there. This is all you're gonna get. Just stop.
Alright, well, Plebus is on his... well, that's over. That was a one-round Kraken fight immediately with the break. Or the Brack, excuse me. Brack has been getting a lot of mileage on these bosses so far with very varied results, but that one was perfect.
Yeah, and Pleb is now lighting his 4th orb. He's ready to dive into Topher. I didn't get his heal pot count, but I think that they didn't have them in that particular shop. Though I did notice that he got level 21 coming out of that Kraken fight, whereas Goats is already up at level 22. Goats has that Vorpal and the X-Cal +1. The X-Cal +1 is definitely the better damage weapon, up until you get to Tier 2 and Chaos. So, it's going to come down to Topher. I don't think Goats also picked up that second ribbon. However, he does have, that Aegis shield, which adds, poison protection. So that's definitely a nice extra little defense for him, even without the ribbon. But yeah, we'll have to see. The thing with the X-Cal against Tier 2 is more about like the absorb. The fact that the extra damage on the X-Cal is nice, but really once you get to Tier 2, the crit ends up getting through a lot more of that what's it called? Yeah, a lot of that defense. Yeah, and Aegis can defend against Bane. That's the big one. Still can't defend against Zap. The only thing that's going to defend against Zap is that black shirt or a ribbon. So, and with nobody with a black shirt and buff, not going to see that. 1 hour, 19 minutes. PlebusMaximus into Topher. Goatspirate taking down Kraken 1. Level 23. So Goatspirate's 2 levels ahead. Plebus is taking this mage fighter fight, which instantly tells me he's not comfortable with his levels. Unless it's unrunnable and I'm blind. But that's going to be an interesting decision if he keeps doing that down here in Topher. Oh, it's unrunnable.
Yeah, it is unrunnable. I don't want to say that you're blind. But, yeah, so his levels are a little bit odd, but with the party makeup he has, with the red mages, with that extra vitality, and having, a fighter who's got some extra hit points, too, with the black belt vitality, honestly, I don't feel like his levels seem a little bit low, but not really. Like, I feel like he'll be fine. He's got so many hit points on all these characters.
Yeah. Well, and he has life 2 on everybody. So that's just another case in point that he's good to go. The only thing that he would be missing would be, fast casts or temper, but he has the Saber Bonk, he has Ruse. There's not much else that you could want other than buying up these heal pots. And Pleb deciding to reset out after those unrunnable bad men just doing what bad men do. Goats deciding to pick up Cure 3 and Fog 2. That Cure 3 pickup on that fighter, so on that knight, really could end up being make or break. And Goats remembering that there is Wall, Fade, and Nuke here at level 6, if I'm remembering correctly. So these are some very nice magic pickups pre-Topher prep.
Yeah, if you're feeling borderline, it's definitely something you want to run over and do. Wall can particularly be useful to cover up for any sort of lack of ribbons. And he does that. Doesn't worry. Or is he going for the nuke? No, it looks like he doesn't care about that one. So, which again, I think it's the same level. Are you going to use a nuke when it's going to lose a wall cast? I can kind of see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to recap, Burt Reynolds. Hi, Burt. We are hour 20 minutes in. Our runners essentially took the exact same route. The only thing that you've seen differently is luck. Goatspirate getting kicked out of Marsh 1 additional time than Pleb did. and that kind of makes the difference. Other than that, it's been execution and kind of like some slight differences in what boxes they open. But these runners are about as even as it gets, and it's been this way for pretty much the entire run. Only differences are that Goats is swinging an X-Cal +1 that Pleb doesn't have, and Pleb has a Sun Sword -1 that Goats doesn't have. That's it. Actually, you know what? I think Pleb has one additional ribbon because of an early Cardia check. But other than that, here we are, two runners doing exactly the same thing, basically about two floors away. And we are pulling up our first bump of the road here, Topher, with Lich, putting out some cake straps, and throwing out more and more Xers, but doesn't need it. That first cake lands, and we are heading up into floor 2, and we've been getting some nasty unrunnables here throughout the course of the match, so we'll see if unrunnables end up being another problem here in Topher.
And you like to think that you're done with them by now, because we could have started counting them and we might have wound up getting the entire list, because it's been so thick and so many bad abilities tied to them. But here we go, Plebus going into Carry 2. Carry 2, of course, is the one that you like to think isn't too tough, but then she likes to surprise you.
Yeah, we are also pulling Goats' Lich fight at the same time. Somehow his red wizard is down, and there's a nuclear from Lich, just more of that bad RNG coming Goats Pirate's way. But he still has 2 out of the 3 up. We've got life 2, we're good to go. Pleb still sitting here on this Carry 2 fight, throwing out invises. Looks like still swinging that Ice +4 stick, taking out DVS. Throwing out Lock, and again, trying to get up some of that evade. Trying to think about what to do here, and all of this time is just giving Goats an opportunity to catch back up again. 6 hits, 384, not done yet with Carry. Harm 4, 123. There's Carry 2, and Goats went from a floor behind to an encounter behind. Goats is picking up speed. Pleb is on his way over to Kraken 2. Fast coming out. Saber coming out. It's going to take about 2 swings. Whether or not Goats is going to be able to survive, that is up to Carry. Zap is doing nothing to that party. The swing with the X-Cal, 8 hits, 1100 damage. Pleb has already made his way up to Kraken 2. Goats is getting into Kraken 2's floor, and we are right into this Kraken 2 encounter. Fast coming out on the red wizard. Invis going onto the knight, and Lock 2 with a ruse stick. Very much relying on that fighter. That fighter does not have any life cast, and Goats is about 3 steps away from pulling his own Kraken 2 fight. Invis again, so that's about 3 stacks of evasion on that fighter. Pretty much as good to go as you want to be. Brack, just for the hope and the prayer. Ruse is getting 5 stacks. Goats also pulls out a Kraken 2. Lock 2 has already come out, 8 hits, both gets taken down. Cure 3, we've got a Fast coming out over on Goats' side. Goats being a little bit more daring with that fighter in the second place. Brack ineffective. 4 hits for only 200. Wall coming out for Goats. This is a very strong move. We've got speed and power on the left, and we've got safe and slow here on the right. We're going to see which of these strategies is going to be the best one to go. Dark Moon, 8 hits for only 200 damage. Not doing a lot with that particular weapon. Ineffective with the Brack. We're just throwing everything out here. Trying to get healing. Invis is out, trying to keep that White Mage alive. The White Mage goes down. Plebus is down to only 1 party member. That party member does not have any sort of life. Meanwhile, Goats is using Saber, throwing out Cures, getting that Knight up as best he can. Fog 2 at level 1. Another Brack strat, hoping Pleb actually taking out Kraken 2, as Goats is getting blazed. And Pleb going down to the Tia floor. Fog 2 coming out. Kraken still standing, as is the White Mage. The Brack ineffective. Pleb now taking out Tia 2, but Ghost taking out Kraken 2 with a White Mage that has life cast. So he's going to have 4 party members up, while Pleb only has the 1. Trying to go with the Ruse strat. doing and heal pot strats with 160 health. Now it's just a heal pot versus trip damage. Tia with 130, deciding to go back into the ruse strat. Darkmoon with 121 HP. Ghost with a full party picking up Tia 2. Brack coming out with a lock 2. Again, more heals now that Darkmoon is completely evaded up. Hoping to make sure he gets over that 400 threshold for the HP. Meanwhile, over on Goats' side, that red mage in the front is just taking a little bit of a beating as planned. Wall coming out on the knight, giving him the speed that he needs. Meanwhile, Pleb is just throwing the drink strats, trying to get enough health to be strong enough to take out this Tia 2. Meanwhile, Goats is thinking through his objectives. The Quad X does not land, probably because of all of those resists that Pleb is carrying with him. Harm 4 coming out on Goats' side, still being able to throw out a lot of spells, a lot of defense, whereas Pleb is taking a lot of time throwing out heal pots and sabering. We've got Ruse, we've got Cures. Again, over on Pleb's side, it's 1v1, 4 hits for 400 damage is what you want to see. Goats is not able to pick up any of that extra firepower at the moment, going nice and slow through his fight. Pleb has 385 HP, that's more than enough. Throwing out more Saber, trying to get just a little bit more damage out, but he's got plenty. Just swing, 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 swing. 8 hits for 700 on Ghost Pirate's side. Fade does another 100 damage. That Tia can't have much more damage to go. It's probably going to be one more round on Ghost Pirate's side. Heal pot strats continuing to come out for Pleb. We're going to see if he's going to get out this next attack. Quad X coming out again, which means Tia's gone all the way through his spell pool. Meanwhile, Ghost taking out Tia 2. He is now ahead. He's taken over Pleb here in Temple of Fiends on this Tia 2 fight. Pleb's Tia 2 has to have only a couple hundred HP at most. Still trying to get those out. Tia doesn't have any nuclears. It's all Ice 2s. And a potential crit going through. That's the only thing you got to worry about. Still throwing out those heal pots. It's probably only one, maybe two more swings while Ghost is over here heading onto his Chaos fight with a full party, throwing up Classic Gamer saying that Tia does have nuke, which is what we're getting the heal pots out for. But now Ghost is on Chaos as we're continuing with the heal strats and the Ice 2, just going back through that spell pool. Getting a swing, which is exactly what you want. 4 hits, 207. Meanwhile, over on Ghost's side, Chaos getting locked 2. There's a fast coming out on that night. Bane is not what you want to see, taking out both of those red wizards, leaving just the white mage and the fighter. Pleb finally taking out that Tia 2. Meanwhile, Ghost pulling out Fog and the nuke from Chaos. But it is a kind of low roll with only about 140 damage left on both of those fighters. Meanwhile, Pleb is on his way to Chaos and essentially the same party. That white mage is still standing strong, but it's going to be a close one. We're going to see what Pleb pulls here and see what kind of RNG he gets as he prepares his weapon. Fade coming out for 180, Lit 2. Just doing a little bit of chip damage. Goat's going with Saber strats now that he has the full ruse. Pleb getting baned, not going to do anything. Chaos is baning again. There's Saber. The nuke gets 100 damage down on Pleb's fighter. This is again neck and neck. It's going to be who can pick out exactly the right strategy to use against this Chaos. Chaos just going back through that spell pool over and over. Needing swings, but all we're seeing it too. We have, again, essentially the same situation happening on both sides. We've got Ruse up on both characters. We're trying to cast those sabers. We're trying to get a little bit of extra damage out. Again, Pleb doing the heal strats. Well, Goats is trying to use some of these cures. Running low, though, moving back to heal pot strats. 8 hits for 777 on Ghost Pirate's side. Pleb still throwing out heal strats. Brat coming out from the white mage, ineffective. Rub coming out from Chaos, also ineffective. 8 hits for 570 from Ghost. Pleb getting nuked, and Pleb's party is down Ghost Pirate terminated. That is GG's to Ghost Pirate, essentially the same time as Pleb taking out his Chaos, or getting nuked by Chaos, Ghost Pirate taking down Chaos. That was as close as it gets at the end of a run. Let's get out GG's to both of our runners here. I am gonna hand it over a little bit to Aaron here. Plebus has decided to forfeit after that run. Pleb also has another run coming after this. So Aaron, go ahead. We're gonna bring Pleb in here, and you can take it from here. GG's, Pleb.
Yeah, was that was the same thing that happened the last time I raced. I died at Chaos again.
Yeah, rough luck. It was really that Kraken 2 fight that ended up being the thing that took out those extra couple party members.
It still wouldn't have mattered. Goats, what level was Goats and Topher?
I think he had a couple on you. He went down to 3 men after a while. Had a stoned red mage for most of the game, but I think he only had. I think he was maybe 23 or 24 by the end. He didn't really. It wasn't really a big difference.
No. Did he get nuclear by Chaos at all?
I think he took one set of nukes, and that was it. His fight was a little bit faster than yours, as you might imagine. He went in with he had both red mages active. Like he had a full party when he got in there, and he basically caught up to you because of all of the Kraken nonsense that happened, and kind of had to really take that one slow.
Yeah, I was debating right after I picked up Load 2 to go down and pick up Nuke and Lightning charges, and if I would have, I probably could have blitzed through Kraken. He didn't have all that much HP, but oh well.
It was a heck of an effort there at the end. You know, solo knight isn't usually, you don't usually have a whole lot of confidence to be able to do that stuff just because you don't have the amazing magic defense that a high level black belt will, but still did very well to get that far, I think.
This happened with my race with Devious. I was man mode at Tia. Same thing, different race. I'm used to playing solo fighter at like 25 on these flag sets, or 20 to 25 through Chaos. The Chaoses have been just wow. I'm speechless at how many nukes and nuclears I took to the face before dying.
Yeah, I was just gonna say how many heal pots you went through too. I mean, that was a lot of rounds of combat. Heal strap.
I that one nuke left me with 1 HP, and I'm like, please heal pot just enough, and don't hit me with anything else. One critical and I'm dead. Just heal. Oh my goodness. Well, on to the next, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to give you a little bit of a little break. So, any final thoughts for us before you go to prep for your next run against Lord of the Scent?
No sweepers, hardly anywhere, and having to use kill magic is lots of fun. Quake Hammer OP.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a big route difference between the two of you too. You were able to just take out a whole bunch of ogres with that Quake, and I think Ghost Pirate sold the Quake Hammer to get money in Provoca, I think, for Magic, or maybe it was Healthland, I don't know, but immediately just started running into those ogres and getting cracked over and over.
Oh yeah. I didn't know they had crack till I was way after I turned the Ruby, and I'm like, oh, they have crack. I'm just gonna reset this now.
Yeah, but it was well raced, and I know you don't have a whole lot of time because you need to prepare for the next one. hopefully. But any last thoughts? Anything outside of the end there that really is going to stick in your mind?
That hero run at the end. Oh my goodness, that is the longest hero run I have ever had. Period.
That's the perfect time, right?
That run carried me from the start of Waterfall to 3 steps away from the door in Waterfall. That was insane. My jaw dropped while I was watching. I'm like, no way. And, well, screw Thunder Mummies.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, well, that and Crack Ogres and Thunder Grogers and 3 Frost Wolves and...
Wait. Grogers had Thunder?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I'm so happy I didn't find that out.
Yeah, Goats had some pretty bad luck in the early game.
Yeah. Well.
All right, go take a break, man. We will be definitely tuning in to your next race against Lord of the Synth, happening over on Speed Gaming Prime. So if you guys want to, also here. Okay, thank you, Dark Moon. Sorry, I looked at the announcement and it said Speed Gaming.
Yeah, no, it's almost here. Then that's my mistake. I'll go fix that.
All right. Speaking of which, hey, Dark Moon. Thank you for restreaming for us.
You're welcome.
All right. Good luck, Pleb. We'll catch you in just a couple minutes here on the Final Fantasy Switch channel. So, Aaron, just as we're closing out, if you have any last thoughts on the seed, and then you can feel free to lead us out of here.
No, I mean, it was a heck of a call there at the end. I think it was about 5 minutes of just nonstop action with both people being so close and seeing an actual lead change. Too often, Topher is not that way. It's whoever goes in first finishes first. So we got to see something very exciting there happen, and it was my pleasure to call alongside you. So I believe that is it for us. I don't know if we're going to disconnect or if we're just going to go on live for a little bit.
I'm just gonna mute us and let the thing play for a little bit of music, and then we're good to go.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll be back in probably 10-15 minutes once the stream kicks back up. Thank you all, and hope to see you again here in just a minute.
And a special thanks to Guardian Marcus as well, our tracker, Dark Moon again for restreaming, Aaron to you two, co-commenting with me tonight. Great run already, and we got another one coming up. And we'll catch you guys soon.